Minecraft Pig Body Art Tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish. And I am once again painting on my nephew's back. So thanks to him again. He's been super helpful. So using a square brush and some pink paint, and this is just a regular medium sort of shade of pink, I'm going to start by painting a square for our pig's head. And then I'm going to be making the square a cube, so you're going to want to add just some dimension to it. And I would really suggest looking at a photo, especially when you're painting this this base outline. Even my photo is fine, just so that you know where all the lines are, because there's a lot of different depths in this, and you got to make sure that you get all those, or it's not going to look right in the end. So then I'm going to be painting, it's not quite a square because it's going backwards, but it's his body, and then his front legs, and his back legs. And doing this, you definitely want to use a square brush because that's going to help you get those really nice crisp looking lines. So now using gray body paint, I'm going to start and I'm going to be filling in some of the shadows. So like I mentioned with his head being a cube, you're going to want to make sure that you fill in the side and the bottom of that cube just to make it, you know, have dimension. And then also just a little bit by his ear, because I think his ear kind of goes inside his head. So then I'm going to separate his front legs, and also the line between his front and his back legs. So then with white, I'm going to be adding some highlights. So first I'm going to highlight over where his snout is. So just going to add a rectangle there, and you're going to want to blend that out, if that makes sense. So you don't want the white paint to be super opaque. You want it to almost blend with the pink so that it's a lighter shade. So then I'm also going to highlight the side of his head and his body, and I'm going to be blending this out so it's not an abrupt line going back. It doesn't just stop all of a sudden, it sort of fades back. And the key to doing that is to have very little paint in your brush. So then I'm also going to be doing the same kind of highlighting on his front legs. I was going to say front arms, but arms on a pig. Legs is better. Anyways, and then do that with the other front leg. And then add with full strength white 2 squares for his eyes, and this is right above where his snout is. So with brown, I'm going to be adding 2 squares on his snout, so they're right on the edge of the snout, so you're going to want to leave a space between them in the middle. And like before I mentioned, I'm using a smaller square brush for doing all these squares, but I'm still using a square brush, which I think is important. So I'm going to add like another layer around where his ear is, and then 2 squares on each of the legs that you can see. Now you can't really see the second back leg, so just forget about that one. And just 1 toenail on the back leg. So then with red, same process as having it really a minimal amount of paint in your brush, so that it turns out almost like a darker shade of pink instead of red. I'm going to be just adding some squares randomly here and there to give our little piggy texture. And then also add a red square between the 2 brown ones on his snout. And then just a little shadow on the side of his snout. So then I'm going to be applying some white squares, and over the top of the area where we already shaded with white, it's going to turn out to be really light pink. And then on the areas where it's darker pink, it's going to be a darker shade of pink. It's still going to be nice and bright and light colored, but it's not always going to be the same shade of pink. And just going to add more texture, as I mentioned. And again, very little paint in your brush, as little as you can get. Almost wash it out. So then I'm going to be adding some black squares next to each of the white ones of the eyes. And then I'm going to be outlining him. And I know that on the game, their characters aren't outlined, and you could really just leave him as he was. I decided to outline him just to make all my lines look a little bit more sharp and crisp, because it's all the different shades of pink that it can kind of get sort of muffled what is what and where everything is. And this really does help. But it's up to you if you don't want to. If you want to keep it looking very much like the game, don't outline it. Otherwise, go for it. It doesn't hurt anybody. And it also kind of helps you show where all the lines and the legs are, because that is especially a place where it's hard to tell where everything is. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like my tutorial. Please share any recreations with me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I would really love to see them, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!